Weightlifting as a lens for learning higher principles. I wanted to make a video, maybe a series of videos about some of the things that the Lord has taught me about the gospel and about his kingdom and about reality through the lens of weightlifting. So why would I choose to talk about weightlifting? So weightlifting in general has so many analogs to what you might consider spiritual topics. And I have a list here of just some of the things that have caused me to think quite a bit over the years. So one of those being the individuality of the sport, how it's a meritocracy. You can't improve at lifting or get stronger by letting someone else lift for you or by watching someone else lift or by lifting as a group. Demonstration and example are the best forms of instruction. So there's nothing beats someone who knows what they're doing and can show you exactly how to do the thing that you're looking to do. Finding the best information and learning requires encountering all kinds of charlatans and influencers and every other kind of thing, people with opinions that have lots of massive followings and people listening to them, all the while having super questionable motives and practices and giving usually fairly bad advice that sort of just goes to and fro with every new trend or every fitness thing that's happening. It has nothing to do with actual fitness or getting strong. It has everything to do with making money. I guess you could also call that priestcraft. The fitness industry really trends towards dogmatism quite a bit. You have your diehard people that believe that their method of doing something is the best way. And there's always a way to improve or do something better. There's tons of debate as to where it's proper to weightlift, whether that's at the gym or at home or at both. Outcomes that are serious really require diligence, sticking to a plan, having patience, and really a willingness to suffer. And that's super important when it comes to making any progress in your spiritual life. To be most effective, the things that you do when you're not weightlifting need to align with the things that you do when you are weightlifting. So what do I mean by that? So you can lift and spend all your time in the gym if you want to, but if you're going home and chowing down on 96 pieces of cake a day and not sleeping at all, and not thinking about nutrition or recovery or anything like that, then the effect of your hard work really goes to nothing. Progress is far easier at the beginning of the process than it is at the end. So if you ever heard of beginner gains or newbie gains or something like that, people who have never trained before who start training get way stronger very fast. And it's really, really gratifying to see and to experience. However, at the top end of the sport, just adding a few pounds onto a maximum lift might take several months of effort and diligent work. Also, just in general, the health of your body and the health of your spirit are definitely related. And if you don't think that one will affect the other, maybe you're not paying attention very much. Finally, learning to bear progressively heavier burdens is the path to the relief of unnecessary suffering in your life. No one has ever relieved themselves of suffering by doing less and less and less. All that does is make you weaker when it comes to being able to bear things. So why me specifically? I have spent a large amount of time learning and practicing and teaching others about weightlifting with the focus specifically on heavy barbell lifts, although I've dipped into all kinds of different types over the years. And one of the main principles that I really wanted to share is a principle that God will teach you through what you're already interested in and focusing on, with a huge caveat, which is if you let him. But he will take whatever you are focused on, and he will try to reach you through that to teach you more about him, so that he can draw you to him and to teach you more about general principles through the specific things that you're looking at. So, and again, why would he do that? Because he loves you and he wants you to have as much joy as possible. So, he teaches you as much as he can about himself from whatever you're engaged in all the time. And usually that's because you're refusing to be engaged in something better. This is one of the ways that Jesus gives you life more abundantly, which he promises to give in John 10:10. Everything that is good in life multiplies when we apply the principles that he teaches. I wanted to point out that even though it is true that he will teach you through what you're interested in and through what you're focusing on, there is a limit to what he can teach you through certain things. The more valuable a task is or a discipline is in its own right, the more there is to learn about him in it, because he is the most valuable. So the more valuable the thing, the closer to him it is on its own. So for example, if all you're interested in is playing video games and doing nothing else, there are plenty of lessons that he could teach you through that to a certain point. However, you're going to be able to get a lot more out of being a parent, which is a lot more like how he actually is, because he is our parent. So he'll use those, again, principles to draw you from what you're focusing on and call you to focus on better things. And this is kind of what's happened to me in my life. So I wanted to share this one verse of scripture from the Doctrine and Covenants, where he says, "Wherefore verily I say unto you that all things unto me are spiritual, and not at any time have I given unto you a law which was temporal, neither any man nor the children of men, neither Adam your father whom I created." And so this just goes to underscore that we make this big mistake of sort of dividing temporal or worldly or secular things from spiritual things. And it's all the same thing. And everything that there is testifies of him and teaches you of him and teaches you about what you should do to be like him. And so he absolutely can take something like physical fitness or weightlifting and teach you a myriad of wonderful things about what you should do in your life. Again, another scripture here from Isaiah 55. He says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord." And every time I hear someone quote this verse, it's typically in the vein of saying like, well, you just don't know what the Lord is thinking, so, don't question what he's saying, just follow what he says. But it's really more than that. It's an invitation from him to us to learn why our ways are not his ways and why our thoughts are not his thoughts. He's not excluding us. He's inviting us to come up and think the way that he thinks and to act the way that he acts. And so he knows about everything that there is. He knows the best way to do everything. So that includes weightlifting. And I can tell you from personal experience that he taught me specifically about how to weight lift better. Right? The actual act of weightlifting, he taught me about. But he also taught me more about life and reality through the medium of weightlifting. He can do both of those things. And both of those things have brought me a lot more joy in my life. So in general, because of that, my desires for these videos are, one, I just wanted to show a practical example of how he does teach you based on your attention. Help you to provide, or to help provide you with more faith that he might do the same for you, right? I want to provide you with the reasons that he's already doing that with you and that he will do the same. And if you ask him for help to see it, you'll be able to learn more from the things that you have to do or get to do or want to do every day. And then also, very important, I wanted to share the general principles that I've learned with you without you having to pay the same price to learn it, right? I've spent the last 7-8 years engaged in this as a hobby, as a stress relief, and also obviously to get stronger and to be more fit. And I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. I've had to go through a lot of this stuff on my own, learn things from videos without someone to teach me, get injured in fun ways and learn how to rehab and physical therapy those things. And I can absolutely tell someone how to come up to where I am in lifting right now without making nearly so many mistakes. And that's the benefit that anybody who has experience in something can do. And it's one of the ways that we are most like God when we do these types of things. So I just wanted to show, here are some of the things that I was thinking I might make videos and topics on. Again, there's so much to think about, but you can see here that even just from this kind of truncated list, and every single one of these things has subtopics to talk about, and things that you could drill into for hours and hours and hours of study. Like, it's actually crazy how you could look at something like, working sets or load, or how much weight you're putting on the bar, for example. And there's a concept in there called misloading, where you put the wrong amount of weight on one side of the bar compared to the other, and the catastrophe that could happen because of that. You could spend a significant amount of time studying how you do that in your own life, spiritually and physically, and what that really means. So I really look forward to making some of these things. I really enjoy thinking like this, and again, I just wanted to see if I could provide some value and benefit to anybody who cares to listen. So take care, and we'll see you when we release the next one.